So right now I'm actually listening to myself on this thing. Did I turn the volume down? There we go. That's much better. I can't hear myself now.
All right. Yeah, that's no fun. No one wants to hear themselves talk.
every time I get on, and this happened, I should know by now. I've been on so many podcasts, and it's always me. I hear an echo. It's me. But now
it's me.
It's absolutely me. But everybody, welcome. This is episode 2 of Studio Skye-Tiger Presents. And today I would like to introduce the world to number 1.
That's me. Hey.
Yes. First podcast, which I'm totally surprised about.
Yeah. No,
I almost can't believe that.
People have not begged for these dulcet tones to appear anywhere else. It's just here. So,
you know what? It's always a first, right? Like I feel like ever since how long have you been at the studio? Since the very beginning. So, how long is that now?
It'll be close to 3 years this next January, I think.
Yeah, I think so. So, I mean, because you were like in there, you're definitely in there at the point where we were just starting everything.
Yeah. From the literal start. I answered your Instagram ad that you had put on your Instagram that you were looking for. You were trying to start a studio and you were looking for people, and so I was like, this is my chance, and I immediately sent in my art, and you sent me back a page from Dr. Afra, I believe, to ink, and I sent it back, and that's it. Yeah,
it was great. History. It was great. Yeah, I mean, I thought when I saw it, and everybody had to do that test, right? And then I gave everybody 3 days, I think, right? Was it 3 days?
I think it was 3 days. Yes. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I think it was. It had to be something like that, because it was like more. It was definitely more time than like the page a day thing or whatever it is. But it wasn't so much. It was like you got a week. Like anybody could do anything in a week.
Yeah, no, I recall it being like a weekend. It might have been 2, like a 48-hour thing, but it might have been 3. But it wasn't like as short as 1, and it wasn't any longer than that. It was 2 or 3 days, somewhere in that window.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you were also one of the first people to turn in yours before.
It was really fast. So the lore is that I had just gotten fired from my job. Actually, I had just gotten let go from a job that I had been working for a little less than a year. I had been working as a temp. They didn't want to hire me on full time. So they let me go. I was really messed up about it, because I was just like, I was feeling really bad about myself, and I just didn't really know how to handle it. I was really struggling because I'd only taken the job in the first place because I wanted to go back to school, and then going back to school was crazy hard. So I wasn't able to go back to school. So I took this job, and it was just a whole mess. And I was in an awful place. And I saw this opportunity that you had posted, and I was like, that would be crazy. it would be. So you
just took a shot. You were like, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'll just take a shot. Yeah.
Shot in the dark. I'm a huge believer in applying for jobs that you don't feel like you're qualified for, because literally the worst that can happen is someone can tell you what you already know, that you're not qualified for the job,
Exactly.
Great. I know that already. So I took a shot. I was like, I'm sure that Ray's going to have a bunch of people who are, crazy qualified, who've been to school, who have professional portfolios that I don't have, but that's okay. I'm going to send my stuff in anyway and see what he says. And you sent me back the page tank, and I was like, okay, that's step 1.
I was so surprised though, because it was a lot of people. I think I ended up telling you what the number was, and there were people from the Cupid School. That they posted it in there at the school like this is an opening in the studio. So you were definitely up against some folks.
I was up against people who have like who like went to school who like have a real education, you know. It was really, really crazy. You know, I had been wanting to do it for so long, and I mean, you know, I know I've told you this before, but comics is, I mean, it's what I've wanted to do my whole life. I fell in love with the DC universe specifically when I was really young, and then with comics specifically when I was like 11 or 12, and it's just been full force ever since then. So it was really, really exciting. I mean, just when we met at Chicago Comic-Con, and you know, when we met and exchanged information, that was really, really cool. And I was like, wow, I feel so like professional. There's like a real comic book artist who's following me. Wow.
Well, we had such a great conversation, and that
we did.
Also let Nate love it, and I didn't know if you knew Nate then. But and Nate and I talked about you in that interaction after you had gone, you know, and so it was a whole thing. So I was happy to start following, because I'm pretty sure I started following you immediately.
Yeah. No, we were talking about different, you know, kinds of representation in comics and like why it was important. Because I told you that I was stalking your booth, looking for black hairstyle references.
Yes,
because I was like,
that's right.
Because I was like, you know, I want to make sure that I know how to do this better. I want to make sure that I'm learning how to do this, and I don't want to learn it from a white artist who they don't know what they're talking about. Like, you know, I want to if I'm gonna learn this information, I want to learn it from somebody who knows what this kind of hair texture looks like and works with in real life, and also in comics specifically. So I was, you know, cruising your booth trying to find stuff. And you know, because I told you that, you asked to see my art, and I showed you, and yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. And I remember I was at Comic-Con with my wife and my roommate, and they like came by and like talked for a little bit, and then they were like, "Great, we're gonna go, you know, enjoy the convention that we're here to do." And I was like, "All right, see ya." And then we talked for like another 2 hours, and by the time they had circled the entire convention and come back, I was still there. So
we're still there. I was like, okay, here we go. You know, no, you definitely convinced me then, and then of course what really got me is after, you know, I did that whole thing and put the word out for this thing, and then you're like, yeah, we met in Chicago. I was like, oh shit,
right. Yeah.
Like, okay. so that also helped. So honestly, like for me, I already knew what your personality was like.
Yeah.
So we have Katrina in the chat, right?
Yeah.
Like, now, for people who don't know, Katrina is like a studio mom, right?
Yeah.
And is the mom of our studio mate Nex Beerlink. So, but yes, because that's very similar to how I met Nex. So
yeah. Speaking of moms, my mommy is also here. Grisabella mom, that's my mother.
Oh, I was going to bring it up. You know, I mean, usually I can't go without even partially embarrassing people. Yep, I can't help it. But yeah, like, let's see. Oh, hi, TJ's mom.
Yeah, my friends Morgan and Zane are here too. I see you guys. Thank you for showing up.
Awesome. I love it. So let's get into it.
Yeah.
And look, what did I tell you, TJ? You already sound comfortable. Like you got comfortable fast.
If there's anything that everyone knows is true, it's that I love to talk.
And didn't I tell you you're like all nervous?
Oh, my dad's here too.
With everything. Oh, that is awesome.
And my dad.
Wow. See, first of all, I just want to say, absolutely love TJ. Like, if you didn't know, I already knew Adam knows, but the thing is like TJ went from, like, you already heard the story, and now it's like my right hand. And has been there since the beginning, has grown exponentially. You know, it's I couldn't have picked a better person to be doing what they're doing within the studio. So, since you talked about your origin, let's talk about what you're doing now.
Yeah.
What are you doing now, TJ? Tell the people, tell the folks.
Yeah. What am I not doing now? I'm doing a little bit of everything. So I am doing some independent work right now, of course, working with Studio Planchette on the next installment of one of their comics called Chaser, which is a supernatural exploration of mental health and addiction, and just kind of exploring some darker themes through this kind of psychedelic rock and roll lens of it. And that's been a delight to work on. So that'll be coming out start of next year. And then with the studio, of course, I'm also working on a ton of stuff. Editor-in-chief there at Studio Skye-Tiger. So I handle a lot of the day-to-day activities, making sure that everyone is, communicating, making sure that everyone's getting what they need from each other.
Also
making
saving sure my mental health, by the way.
Saving Ray's mental health as much as I can possibly manage. And organizing a couple of anthologies, collecting the pitches that people want to include, and taking a look at the students that Ray has in his class, and helping kind of parse through their work and seeing who might be a good fit, not just for an anthology series, but who might be a good fit for the studio. Just kind of helping around wherever I can. I've got, a couple different fingers and a couple different pies, so.
Completely maintaining the Discord.
Absolutely,
beyond a shadow of a doubt. Absolutely, completely maintaining it.
Yeah, so. No, it's a lot of fun. I actually really enjoy working through Discord. I feel like having it's a great place to have everything sort of all in one place. Because email is great for long-term communication, but it's difficult for just quick back and forths. So that that's I'm really proud of the Discord. Actually, I'm really proud. I feel like it really served a lot in keeping, especially in our first iteration when we were still pretty loose, and in keeping us together as much as possible. Yeah, and 1.0.
We learned a lot that first year. I mean, definitely, it helped me to figure out what worked, what didn't. A lot of stuff worked, some stuff didn't. We were trying to figure out what we were going to be. I mean, we did deal with certain projects that some didn't happen, some did happen, some happened in a way that didn't go the way we would have liked, but they did happen.
Some of them, as I found out, are happening. It's just taken almost 2 years, because I didn't realize I didn't realize that post-war was still coming out, because I never heard anything about it. But then I finally saw like an ad for it on the author's Instagram, and I was like, oh man, oh shit, I did that.
Right. Let me tell you how cool that was. So when Allison reached out and it was finally coming out, and it was like, oh my God, this is our very first thing as a studio that was done. Yeah. And so that's usually how things work sometimes too. Like, there'll be projects that we'll do that might not even see the light of day, period. Some might come out later. Right. So, some are damn near immediate. It all depends, like how whoever is the client is. But that's the other part. The other part of it, when we first started, we weren't doing it. It wasn't a publishing company. It was just a production. Like, we would take on
yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't just other
I mean, and I think even calling us like a studio to that extent was probably pretty generous. I mean, for the most part, we were working as a collection of assistants. That was our job, was to help back you up whenever you needed it, so that you could take on the projects you wanted to take on and still work on your stuff without being overloaded with all of this junk. So it's Yeah, because we, certainly at the start for post-war, when we were doing the story for Alice in Danger, who's incredible author, by the way, genuinely one of the coolest stories I've ever read. I mean, you had done pretty much all the pencils for the pages. I think by the end, because we were then starting to work on Defiant as well, a lot of it was pretty loose, because I definitely remember taking over, not like pencils, but definitely like tightening some stuff up first before before doing the inks for post-war. So just because we were juggling so many different things.
The first story was like, I think the pencils were fairly tight. And then I got a little more comfortable with, depending on who you were, what you could deal with. And so I saw, like, for you, because this is all about you. I
did a lot of the pages for that one. But I did the inks for a great deal of those pages.
You did, but I'm going to tell you this, like, no good deed goes unpunished. And so when you showed that you were capable of doing these things, I was like, okay, so let's go. And you always had this kind of demeanor where it was like, I don't know if I can do this, but I will definitely try.
I'm going to try it. Yeah.
I'm going to try to do this. And every time you accomplished it. Like absolutely every time.
I have a sort of a level of tenacity that is fueled by absolutely no reason. There's like absolutely no foundation in it. But I have, I guess, kind of the sort of a typical white man delusion that if I just want to do something well enough, then I can probably figure it out. So I'm willing to try pretty much about anything, even if I don't know what I'm doing. But the cool part about it is that it's like really affected my my confidence in my art. I mean, for a really long time, that approach was because I'm gonna do it because I want to, and because I want to do this job more than I want to do literally anything else in the world. But I don't think that I have that skill. I'm just going to hope that when I start, I will magically find it. And, that has really translated to, first of all, just, I'm a huge believer in doing it scared, just do it, but do it scared. Like, it doesn't matter if you do it well, do it scared. Because if you let the fear of failure stop you from trying to succeed, then you're never going to do anything.
Put that on repeat, because that bears repeating. So many people, the fear completely overtakes them. Do it scared. You'll get better as you go.
Exactly. You get better. And even if you don't get, I think the huge part of it for me too is even if you don't get better at it, I mean, I can't tell, you certainly know firsthand how many times I tried backgrounds and didn't succeed before I tried backgrounds and did succeed. I mean, if I had just never done it because I did it scared once and it didn't work and I didn't want to do it anymore, I never would have been able to produce the quality of art that I am able to now. So it's a huge been a huge boost to my confidence, because I've found out that sometimes if I do it scared, I actually can do it, and that's pretty cool. But it also gives me reasonable expectations of what I am capable of in a way that I was just so nervous to want before. I'm always a little worried about seeming egotistical. I never want to come across as a self-important person. A
lot of artists start really feeling themselves.
Yeah. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I think it's a really important balance to strike, because I feel like there is absolutely 100% such a thing as overconfidence when it comes to the industry specifically and trying to work with other people and get work. That overconfidence can really, really hurt you, but so can underconfidence. I mean, it's underconfidence can be a killer. If you don't believe in your own work, you can't expect other people to believe in it either. And so it's
dropping
really
some gems.
it's really hard to strike that balance. And I was definitely on that underconfident side for a really long time with my art. I mean, just having a lot of hangups with the fact that, I'm self-taught. I don't have a formal education in art whatsoever. All of the education that I do have is not at all related to like the specific field that I'm in, because it was all in 3D animation, which I was terrible at, by the way. So bad. I was not well suited for that kind of work whatsoever. I didn't even take a ton of art classes in high school, because for the longest time I was like, I'm going to be on the stage. I'm going to be an actor. So I didn't even really focus on it in like in middle school or high school. So I had a lot of confidence issues with accepting that I could maybe be good at what I do. And so just doing a bunch of different stuff and kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall and just trying a little bit of everything and seeing what I could make stick. That was huge. It was really, really helpful to better gauge my skills, and then as I've gone on, be more confident in them. I don't want to reveal anything about any projects that we may or may not be working on, because obviously but when we got this project that we're working on that came to our door recently, I didn't have any confidence issue about it. I was like, yeah, I think I could do that. I think that I love that. I think this is a story that works for me. I think this is a style that I vibe with really well. Like, yeah, I think I could absolutely do like the art for this book. I couldn't have done that a year ago. I would have felt crazy. So
what I've seen so far, and all I've done, what I do love, because you were definitely the choice to do this, especially all the stuff you were doing, your professionalism. Like everybody that's listening right now, it is. I don't say this lightly. Actually, I'm being quite conservative when I say that TJ's professionalism is top notch and to the level of any and every Marvel or DC creator working today. So professionalism is absolutely banger.
Oh, shucks.
That's another fact. Let me throw one of your challenges out there, which is one of the biggest. I think every creator has like these milestones that they do. And I'm not going to show the one you think I'm going to show, but I am going to show one of them that
I'm so nervous.
Further. Yeah. So this one.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So I get this. Yeah.
That one was so great because that was from my friend Aaron Fitzgerald. And, it was a whole thing. I'm not going to get into the details, but I was like, we need to do this piece. And I did the layout for it, but there was nothing else done. And I think the only thing that was fairly tight, because I didn't even I don't think I did the clothes. At least not all the,
it was pretty rough. It was a pretty rough sketch.
It was pretty rough. Yeah. So, and Aaron was doing this, one woman show, fantastic VO actress. I love Aaron. But when TJ turned this in, and I'm seeing it at every stage, and it's just like, wow, just wow. It was phenomenal.
This was definitely another example of do it scared and maybe it'll work out, and then it worked out. I'm notoriously, I think anybody in this chat who knows me will tell you that I am pathologically afraid of coloring. It is something that has been so scary to me for pretty much my entire life, and my entire art journey, because I will always, really enjoy the sketch and then even the line art, and then I'll go to put color down and I just feel like it's not coming across, but it's something that I really want to be good at and that I want to be able to do better. So I was like, you know what? I know that this was not the request. I know that it was not, it did not need to be a fully painted like thing. You just wanted me to ink it and color it. And I was like, I could do that, no problem. But then I finished it and I was like, it would look so much better though. It was like painted.
Yes.
And so I went for it. And I, kind of with the understanding of like, well, I've already put these flats down. So if I do the rendering over top of it and it looks terrible, then I just won't do that. I'll just throw some shading on it and send it and call it a day. But it was like the only thing that I did for a solid 24 hours. I was like, I want to do this and I want to get it right. So this is all I'm doing. But it was a blast. I had so much fun with it, which is,
yes, you did,
how I've always like found the sort of, I guess that's kind of like the indication for me that I am actually learning something and that I'm actually like learning how to do something well, is that I start having fun with it. It stops being stressful and it starts being really, really fun, to the point that I don't want to put it down until it's done. Like I just want to keep going until I finished it because I'm having such a good time. And this is absolutely a piece like that. I did a lot of studying of Adam Hughes as an artist who I've been studying since I was but a wee lad. And I've always really loved his rendering style and how like soft and pencily it looks. It's so pretty.
Yes.
So I really wanted to try and channel some of that, especially with I've always really loved how he has this kind of iconic style of this very soft, beautiful, realism inspired like rendering style, and then these harsh comic outlines on the outside of it. And I love the way that looks. So I wanted to try that, and it just ended up being so much fun. I had such a blast with it. So yeah.
So we're gonna move on though. We're gonna move on.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm gonna do something else right now. Just give me a second. As I'm changing over because StreamYard doesn't like the web.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't. So hold on. I'm gonna take this down for us off the stage. Let's see. So yeah, you got a lot of good comments in here. I love that folks are like seriously showing up right now.
I've got a really, really fantastic support system. I really have some just incredible family and friends who have been so insanely supportive of me doing this and of me taking this journey, because it's very scary. I mean, I was really nervous about doing this and about trying to make a living out of this, but especially because when we started, I certainly didn't have the confidence that I could, that this could be a career for me. But all of my friends, especially, both my mom and dad have been crazy supportive. My wife has been an amazing support system for me, and really just encouraging and enabling me to pursue this career. So yeah, no, they're great. I've got a wonderful little crowd of people who have been absolutely insanely amazing at keeping up my confidence and my motivation. So
no, that's good. I mean, I would say so far, let me ask you this. So far in the past 3 years, what is your biggest takeaway?
Oh gosh, my biggest takeaway. I think it has to be. It's not necessarily a wonderful little soundbite, because I think it is kind of a balance of things that people tend to like take and move forward with. I think it is a pretty solid halfway mark between be practical and have faith, I think that if you do too much of one or the other, you kind of screw yourself. Yeah. I think it's really a balance of the two. I feel like it was absolutely a huge part of it was about being practical about my skills, was knowing that when I, applied for this position and when I took this job, that, I was thrilled to have impressed you enough to earn the job, right? That was
you definitely earned
hugely
it. Like,
exciting.
It wasn't a gift. You earned it from day one.
my my roommate who I shared an office with at the time that I got your email back would tell you that I cried when I opened your email and you told me that I was the only applicant who had gotten a perfect score. I wept. Yeah. I was like, that's impossible. That can't possibly be true. Yes. But I was so overwhelmed and so excited about it. But even from that moment, I was like, but that's the best work I've ever done. I mean, like this, doing that inking page, that Dr. Afra page, I think still is some of my best inking work.
Let me see if I can find that Afra page. Hold on a second.
I think I have it too.
Post something else, but I think I have all of you guys' work. So,
but it was. Just, I mean, there are definitely parts of it that like I can look at now as someone who is a significantly more seasoned artist and specifically a more seasoned inker, and I can recognize like, oh, I probably should have done that. I should have done this differently or what have you. But I still sometimes I go back and look at it and I'm like, this is pretty good. the textures on this are pretty good. I can feel the depth. I can feel, a lot of the things that I was struggling with. I feel like it just kind of lined up and I got it. And
that was like, I don't know, had you ever inked anyone else's work like that?
I had a little bit, but only kind of like, in a very limited sense. I had taken a couple of pages that I'd found online from artists that I enjoyed and tried inking over their work. I practiced a lot of my inking by actually inking over like scans of comic pages, just pulling them and, seeing the inks and color and not like the raw pencils, and doing it that way to try and get an idea of like different inking styles and how different people made different strokes. But I didn't have a lot of practice doing it over raw pencils like that. So it was very intimidating, but I was really excited to try it. And like I said, I wanted that job so bad that I was like, I'm going to do it well because I don't have another choice. So it's going to be this. But like I said, I still look back on it and kind of think like, wow, like this is, I think I did a really good job on this, even though there are things that I probably would do differently now. And so from that moment, I was like, well, I have to be able to do this every time. Like I can't
call on it when you need to.
Right. This has to be my base level now. I can't send this in and then not be able to replicate this kind of work. I have to be able to do it this good or better literally every time moving forward. And so, I think that's where the practicality came in. I spent all of my free time, literally almost every moment of my free time after I got that job, especially because, like I said, I had just lost my job and I didn't have anything else that was going on. And this was, just less than a year after, like COVID had hit. And so I was not getting another job. Like there was not anything for me to get. It wasn't going to happen. Oh, don't say that, Mom.
I might
don't say
your
that
mom up on that. I would love to on the next time you're going to be, on the studio show. We're going to share that.
That's such a scary promise. Oh God. It was not good. It was really not good. I'll come back to that, but I'll have to tell you a story about something my dad said to me about it. But I'll come back to that. So I had, I spent literally just all of my free time working on improving my work. I took, online, like, virtual classes, like free classes that people put on YouTube. I did, art studies of a bunch of different artists that I enjoyed, whose style I really wanted to try and replicate, or who I thought like was kind of similar to the way that I drew. I did, I practiced doing colors. I practiced doing inks. I practiced everything. Anytime that I had any spare time, that's what I was doing. Because I knew that where I was with my skill level was not a published professional quality yet. That was the practicality of it. I knew that I was capable of producing quality inks, but I knew that wasn't my baseline, and I needed to get better.
Well, I'll tell you that, first of all, you already have a realistic, sometimes, sometimes less than, but you have a realistic view of your work. Versus an inflated view. And I think a lot of the problem is with newer artists, a lot of them are good, they have a good base, but they're not ready for prime time. But they think that they are because, regular folks, maybe their friends or, their mom and dad or whoever, it's not really realistic.
Yes.
In that. And that's the other part. The other part of it is, I love your growth in the sense that, like, your professionalism was already there. Like, it was already there. So, it just improved over time. What I do want, though, let's talk about, hold on a sec. Let's take this off. Let's take that off. Let's talk about this.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So this is a comic that is partially posted on my website, actually. It's everything except for the last 4 pages, I think. And it's definitely not because the last 4 pages aren't finished. That would be crazy, but it's sort of maybe a little bit like that. This is for the original anthology that we had talked about doing forever ago. I mean, this would have been within this was before the current iteration of the studio had been established.
Because I have the first iteration of this page too. I just showed this version.
Oh my god, I have probably 3 or 4 iterations of this page. I know I have friends who are in this chat right now who have seen 3 or 4 iterations.
They've seen it already.
Because I would post it, and then like 3 months later, I'd be like, I redrew everything. Here it is again. Because I just couldn't. I was at such a stage in my craft where I was leveling up so much faster than I was completing a project. So I would finish the page and I would move on to the next page. And by the time that I had gotten to that next page, the quality would have improved so much that I was like, well, now I have to go back to the first page and make sure that that's up to the same level of, the same quality as the first page, as the second page that I just started. So it was and it was constantly doing that for, pages and pages at a time. I did, especially the first 2 pages, which have actually been scrapped. That was a huge part too of me recognizing, what the story needed and how to craft the story in a usable way. Is I had these first 2 pages of this character Delilah, of her like singing in the night lounge that they're in, and the other character Alexander like seeing her and kind of seeing this like, you know, that he's enticed by her in some way. And then I was like, this is unnecessary. I don't need to do this. I can just communicate this in the other pages. I don't need to have like an unnecessary extra set dressing here. You know, I don't need to have like, I don't need to change the scenery 2 pages in. That seems frivolous. It seems unnecessary.
Well, that's good storytelling though, like ultimately.
Thank you. It's 100% inspired by my dad's directing. My dad has a story that he'll tell anytime he talks about working on one of my favorite plays of all time, which is Hamlet. And my dad has worked on Hamlet a few times, but when he directed it, when he was in California, one of his actors, literally like a week before opening, like hurt himself during stage combat. And fell off a platform, broke his arm, had to go to the ER, and was like fine to perform, but was on like painkillers that made him absolutely insane for like the first 10 minutes after like showtime. So he could do the rest of the show, but his Horatio could do the opening scene. Like he didn't have the wherewithal because of how loopy his medication made him. So my dad was like, well, what can I do? What could I possibly do to fix this? The only option that he had was kind of to cut the scene, which is crazy because it's the most iconic scene of Hamlet. Like, it's when they're, out and they're first talking about seeing the ghost for the first time. And it's when, before Hamlet talks to the ghost, but it's when the other characters see it. But like, he was like, but if I cut this, the literal next scene of the show is Horatio and the guards going to Hamlet and telling him word for word what happened in the first scene. So do I need to have both? Right. And he didn't, so he just cut it. And despite the fact that it was a choice that was made out of necessity, it was also one of the best reviewed parts of his show. People were like, this was an incredible decision for him to cut this scene. It's so repetitive. You don't need it. So I always think of it when it comes to my storytelling. You know what I mean? Exactly. And being concise, and nobody wants to see the same thing repeated 5 times in a story before, to try and understand what's going on.
We get it.
It made more sense to cut it. I was like, I'm gonna communicate all of the information that's being communicated in those first 2 pages is going to get communicated again later. I don't need to have them. I am a huge believer of when it comes to writing, especially for visual mediums. I feel like with books, you can get a little more away with kind of the waffling and repeating things a couple of different times and going over the same thing, because
out and all that.
You've got essentially a infinite medium. You've got people who read books are there to read a book, they're in for the long haul. With a lot of visual medium, you're trying to capture people's attention in a really short amount of time. And you have to
show, don't tell.
Exactly. And then you have to catch that attention and then keep that attention. And so I'm a huge believer in everything has to serve the story. Every scene, every piece of dialogue, every, set design choice, it has to serve the story. Because if it doesn't, just cut it. You don't need it. Just move on.
Oh, absolutely. No, I mean, so when you were doing this, can you tell us about this? What do we have here?
So this is
and we're going to talk about the jump too, because you continue to jump. So
yes, this is a huge example of it. Is the first 2 pages of this versus the second 2 pages of this. So this is the short that I'm doing, or that I have done that will be in the Midnight Tiger Evo. This was a really interesting challenge for me because I've never done a scriptless comic. I've never done the Marvel style where you get the beats of each page and what's going to happen. And it was exciting for me because I was like, I'm kind of writing it a little bit. There's a little bit of that, it's very similar to storyboard driven cartoons where they don't necessarily give the storyboard artists a script. They give them kind of an overview of what the episode needs to do. And then the storyboard artists are the one kind of writing the dialogue in and figuring out how beat by beat each of the scenes go. And that felt very similar to this. Is kind of I didn't write the dialogue specifically, but I kind of got to set up what each scene looked like so that you could then go in and write the dialogue for it, which was really fun. It was a really interesting exercise in visual storytelling for me, is trying to communicate ideas without any dialogue and then seeing what the dialogue would be based on that. That was a blast.
Well, I figured, because I keep telling you guys in the studios, you guys are storytellers. If I give you, what this is about, I give you the scene, the general, this is what's happening, but I don't give you panel per panel, because that's the difference. With the Marvel style, it's not a panel by panel thing. This is the scene. This is what's happening on this page. You work it out. You figure out the best method of storytelling to convey. This is the high point. This is whatever this is. This is the thing that gets you to think, that you do when you do layouts, actually.
Yeah.
So your comparison to storyboarding is exactly that, where they give you the scene and then you map it out. You figure out, what points do I want to land on? What is this about? What is this page about? What is the reader supposed to get from it? And I think you nailed that. I really do. I think you nailed that in this.
I'm glad. I mean, obviously, it helps that we're in communication the whole time. I can send you the thumbnails and be like, "Is this what it's supposed to look like?" And you're like, "Yes," and I'm like, "Great." So that's definitely, also a huge help of it. But it was, it was really fun. It was really good exercise. I definitely feel like this is a prime example of like, I have learned so much since doing these first 2 pages. Even while I would say doing the second page, even the first page of the second page, I feel has a pretty substantial quality jump. And then like the jump from that to 3 and 4 is just, it's like a different artist did it.
Yes,
it's like a different artist did it. And I mean, part of that is like these 2 pages were like a good 6 months apart, I think, from when I worked on the first 2 to when I had the time to work on the second 2. So that's definitely a huge part of it, is just the sheer amount of time between them. I had a lot of time to improve.
Working on a bunch of stuff in between it. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, talk about the level of jumping. You're doing stuff with Planchette. You're doing a bunch of. You were doing.
Yep.
The DC Pride thing at the same time too.
Yes. So, is that what I say is probably the number one reason that my art jumped in like this time period between is as I was working on on the DC the DC Pride, the fan collection that I run, and did a 5-page comic for that, which was, I mean, just so much fun to work on, especially because I did every part of that pretty much. I worked with another writer, and I worked with an inker who was fantastic, by the way. They absolutely managed to. I always get nervous about sending my pencils off to ink. I know that I have like relatively tight pencils. Like I have pretty clean pencils compared to a lot of people who do, I mean, it's for being rough. I get why people do it, but I was still like, ooh, what if I lose some of my line quality? But they had it, so I didn't even need to worry about that. But but then I did the coloring on that. I did the lettering on it. So I learned a lot about, I studied so many more comics between, point A and point B of doing this, because I was trying to work on so many different aspects of putting a comic together. So, and it was so much fun, and I improved so much as an artist and as an editor. I mean, it was a huge opportunity for me to get to try doing editing for the first time. And I just loved it so much. It was so much fun. I had such a blast with it.
Your production value was extremely high. Like, everybody who saw it, like, I remember showing it to Shayla, and she's like, wow. It was like blown away, and this is supposed to be like a fan made, book. But that's the thing, like, you're a professional, and so it just showed it could sit next to the actual DC Pride book, and no one.
That's and that's what we wanted to accomplish. And it's not anything against, of course, the the DC Pride special that they put out every year. I mean, when that first Pride special came out, it was huge. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy to see that this company that I do love, and that I love, reading the comics of, was coming out and saying explicitly, like, yes, we support this community. We support telling their stories. Here they are, and it had, frankly, some of the best like stories for some of those queer characters that I've gotten the chance to read. It was really, really amazing. And it's not necessarily a criticism, just I think kind of a fact that from then on, as they moved forward, there was more of a focus on like the marketability of that Pride special.
Definitely.
versus like versus it reaching the community that it was originally made for. I mean, there's been, the first three specials had like forewords from other, from queer creators within the DC company, and then they stopped doing those, and it just kind of started being, here's the stories, and it's, I get it, right? Like, I get why they have to make those decisions, and the markability is important, but I feel like the sort of drawback of having a very limited amount of pages to tell all of these different stories is that in the end you're going to have left somebody out. You're going to have missed somebody's representation. And it's one thing to do it one year and then hit them up the next year. It's another when you're constantly not seeing yourself represented in these collection of stories that are supposed to be about you. That's really, it's frustrating. And having put together one of these specials myself, you get the stories you get, and you work with that and you publish them. But I think there is a lot of room to tell more stories and to tell different stories. And so we wanted to create this special that was not in any way intended to be a replacement for the the published version that DC puts out, but just to be an addition. Here's some other stories.
Absolutely, that was perfect.
Yeah. And so that was, it was such a treat to work on. And it was such a privilege to work with so many incredibly talented artists. And it was so freaking fun to be able to like match artists and writers together. That's by far my favorite part of it. I had so much fun with that. I knew that what I wanted to do with this project was not standard. This is not a thing that you see traditionally in the fandom spaces. You don't see these fan-made comic specials. You get, zines where you get people who do art and who do, there will be comics sometimes in those, and people will, submit stories that they've written, and it'll be this whole collection of fan works. But specifically trying to recreate a comic book special where you have, 4 or 5, or in some cases of our stories, 6, 7, 8 page stories. We had some incredibly long submissions, which was also very cool to see. Right. There are people who want to write comics, and there are people who want to draw comics, and neither of them always know how to do that and how to get into being able to do that. And that's where you come in. Exactly. And so I was able to say, hey, if you've always wanted to write a comic and you've always wanted to, tell your own version of the story of this character, or, tell, this kind of story that hasn't been told in DC before, and use the characters to do that, I'm giving you the opportunity to do that. I have a dozen artists who've already put in their art who want to draw a comic and don't write, and who want to be able to be a part of this creation process. I going through like the different writers and all of their different like work, and seeing their writing style, and then going through all of the different artists and try to see like, oh, this vibe matches this vibe, and this vibe could go with this vibe. These people want to work on the same kind of characters. I should match them up. That was just, it was so much fun, and it was so incredibly rewarding to see the end product and see it be successful, see all of these teams have come together, some of them having never worked together before ever, and seeing them produce incredible content. It was so much fun. And it's no, I really discovered a passion that I didn't know that I had for editing. I really I was like, oh, this rocks.
You were beaming. I mean, you really were. Like, we talked about it and this whole thing, even our private sessions, and that's ended up. Well, let's use that as a segue. Let's use actually the last few minutes that we're gonna have, because I don't want to keep you too long, as a segue, because you talked about representation. You talked about giving people the space to write about and draw about things that they want. And well, let's use that to talk about the studio. In the studio, that's what we try to do, right? So what I'm going to ask you now, we're gonna talk about that. Like, as you've seen not only your position in the studio, but as you've seen the studio grow, the people who have entered it, whatever. What are your thoughts on the studio as a whole? What we're doing inside the studio, your place in it, and I would say, yeah, let's ask that question. Like, I'll let you go.
I mean, so it's, I'm obviously, it's already very difficult to get onto the the podcast that I'm doing with my boss for the studio that I work for, with the studio's brand name on it, and then come on and be like, and I hate it and it's terrible. But I did
pressure you to be on tonight.
You a little bit, yeah.
I did.
But it's just there's no amount of praise that I could give it that I think would be adequate. It's just been, it has, in a very personal way, quite literally changed my life for the better. It has, in a career sense, brought such an excitement and such a love of this industry, and I've been able to put it to use, both in the sense of, being able to explore the different parts of this industry in their traditional formats, and then also explore it in a way that's really new and different. I mean, the way that our studio operates is, I think, so unique and so cool that I'll tell people about it and they're like, I didn't know studios did that. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know I could join a studio and like have work come to me. I didn't realize that was an option. And I'm like, yeah, because it usually isn't. Like, that's not usually.
We make it that way.
We made it happen. Like, it doesn't usually work that way.
Right.
But it is so special, and it's been really, really cool, especially this last year. I mean, this last year has been crazy for us, just in terms of the kind of attention that we have received and the kind of accolades that we have received. I mean, working on the DC Power, the Dynamic Duo special, being a part of something that meant so much to other people was just an absolutely indescribable feeling. I mean, it's so crazy. I come across people in like fan spaces that I'm in and on, friggin' TikTok who are like, and I read this, DC Power special and this was the best one. And I get to be like, I did 2 pages on that. That's our studio did that. That's crazy. And it's such a cool feeling. And I think that for me, it's just about being able to do that over and over again. It's about being able to, on 2 separate levels, provide a level of representation in terms of what we produce and what we create, the original stories that come out of the studio and with like our associated labels, telling the stories that need to be told for people who don't get to see themselves in comics and how important that is. But also on like a literal employment level, being able to have this studio that is full to the brim of people from all kinds of walks of life, people who have seen themselves chronically underrepresented in comics, who want to be a part of that change, and being able to give them a home and say, yeah, here you can do that, and here we're going to make sure you have the opportunity to do that. That's just, it's so cool. Everything about it is really cool.
I imagine in my mind, it's so many people. And I was telling, God, I don't know if it was David Walker or somebody, and I was like, I said, honestly, we're talking about representation. I find myself, because of, talking about representation a lot. And I'm definitely a person who I don't want to waste time talking about a thing. I want to do a thing.
Yeah.
Because it's such a waste. I don't know if you saw your name up there.
I did. Yeah. No, I told literally everybody I knew when this happened. I was like, I was like telling my dad, I was like, okay, so it's like if comics had an IMDb.
Yes, very much.
I was like, this is like a huge deal for me. This is massive. I have a profile. This is like if somebody made For You and IMDb. This is crazy. I told literally everyone. I would have told people walking down the street if I ever went outside. I mean, like, I'd have been like, I literally would have been like, yeah, it's me. Look at this.
No, I think it's awesome. I mean, honestly, it's super cool for me. And really, it's kind of like, so yeah. So what was I gonna say? That's right. I was talking to David Walker, and I was like, at that time, I was like, do you know, most of my studio consists of like everybody who isn't readily hired all the time. It's like queer, black, brown, whatever. Like everybody's represented in this studio. And do you know how often that ever comes up? It doesn't come up at all.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of how it is because we enjoy all working together. I mean, honestly, it's got a little family vibe to it. You know what I mean?
Yes. No, I mean, right? Absolutely. There's it's so comfortable in like our workspaces. Everybody I feel like is really, really comfortable with each other. And I think that to your point, like it doesn't, the differences between us don't come up, at least not in a negative way. I feel like it's also a place where we have all been able to talk about our life experiences and the things that have made our lives difficult and the ways that we've all individually been marginalized for one reason or another.
Yes, without definitely a safe space.
Yes. And it's, and we've all been able to talk about it and, relate to each other, even if we don't have the same specific experiences. We've all been able to be like, I don't have that experience, but I do know what that feeling feels like. And I get it. And I'm here for you. And, I want to help you not have to experience that anymore. I want to, it's such a comfortable place to be and such a comfortable place to grow.
And you get paid. You're not interns. I mean, I guess in the beginning you were, but you got paid as whatever.
No, I gotta give a mad shout out to my best friend Allie. She's great, and she pretty much the entire time that I've been here. There haven't been a lot of times where I got like panicky about money, but we've had some dry spells in the studio. We've had some dry spells.
Long dry spells, definitely.
Yes, yeah. And this last year hasn't been. I mean, this last year I've been so busy trying to find time to do anything else. And it's and I'm so grateful for it. But it was, I mean, there was a time probably about the end of like year 2, just before like we had kind of relaunched with the new group of people that we had, where, that first group had pretty much totally fizzled out. It had kind of just been you and me for a handful of months at that point.
God, yeah.
Like technically everybody was there, but we hadn't heard from anybody in like half a year.
No. Because people had moved on. There are people who were they were struggling with different things. And what's great about the studio, there is absolutely no obligation to be there because you want to be there.
Definitely.
And so people were definitely allowed to say, I'm seeking things elsewhere, or this isn't the right time for this, or whatever they had to say. I was totally fine with it. Like I
definitely
understand. I've been there the whole time, but you have remained a constant.
I stuck it out.
What did you tell me? You're like, I'm not going anywhere.
I'm not going anywhere. You're gonna have to get rid of me. It's the only way.
And that's not happening. You do realize.
I just, it's part of it is like, like the things that we were talking about. Like, it's just, it's a place where I am comfortable. I'm comfortable being authentic to myself there, and about the things that I want to create, and about what I like about the industry and what I don't like about the industry. And it's a very comfortable place for me to be. It's also been a very comfortable place for me to grow as an artist and as a person. And that's not something that you can really get anywhere else. And part of it is I'm not afraid to say that I'm definitely one of those people where I know I put a lot of my like self-worth and value into how useful I can be, and how much, how much I can help other people. And it's, as someone who has really struggled with traditional employment in the past because of my ADHD and because of like my inability to like organize myself at times, I've struggled with those traditional like office settings and being able to thrive in them. And so being in a place where I not only feel valued, which is a huge part of that. I mean, like, it's a massive, but you have to feel valued in the place that you work. And that's just the way I like it. But it's important in your workplace to feel valued and to feel like, like it is important that you are there and that you are well liked being where you are. But it's also, that I don't feel like I'm valued in a way that I have been in the past, where it feels more like an exploitation, where it feels like, yes, I know that you rely on me and you need me to be here every day because this place is going to fall apart without me. But that's because there's nobody else here. There's nobody else here, and it's just me, and I'm falling apart, and I need another person. And that's not, that hasn't been the case with the studio at all. It's always been very, mutual. I feel it's always been very mutual. I feel like, not just between, you and me, but also between like me and the other people in the studio. I feel like
even the students are like listening. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even have to be there, but you're just, and even the students are like, oh, well, let's ask TJ, or, and you come in and you're like, so I love that. Like, you're a part of every aspect of what I'm doing.
Yeah. It just, I don't know. It feels, it's like a home. It's just feels like the place I belong to be, So it's great.
No doubt. There's no doubt. This is exactly where you should be.
I know. I just had my 30th birthday on the 1st, and I got asked by somebody, like, are you stressed? Like, because you hit your 30s and you stress out because you're like, oh God, I'm like a real adult now and I have to do real adult things. It doesn't count when you're 29. That's not being a real adult. So like, now you're 30. Now what? Are you scared? And I was kind of like, honestly, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I feel like I spent my 20s, like, the back half of my 20s, setting up the dominoes that I needed to set up so that I could be exactly where I wanted to be for my 30s. I don't feel scared. I'm really excited about this next chapter of my life. I have a job that I love. I am married to the most amazing woman in the world. I have a home that I feel safe in. I have people in my life who love me, that I love. Like, I don't know, man. It's good.
You have what many people are looking for already.
And it's not about the money that comes in. Yeah, the money would be nice.
The money's always nice.
Money's always nice, but at the end of the day, like, I'm happy in what I do and where I am and who I'm with. That's what's important. I have that set up so that now I can focus on being successful. I've put the work in to be able to do that. I don't have to scramble and worry and stress about, having spent this time trying to be successful. And now I have to worry about those relationships in my life and being kind to the people who have been kind to me and trying to, find and maintain my community. I don't have to worry about that. I have that already. That's the important
because
part.
You're doing it simultaneously. You know
exactly.
Like, you're already doing it. So, let's see. This went by fast. So it's already like an hour and 10 minutes. I knew you would just take to it.
I talk a lot.
Sure? You sure this is the first one? So I'm going to, let's end it by asking you if there was any advice getting into the comic book industry.
Yeah.
What would you say? And, anything you want to plug?
My advice for getting into the comic book industry is to talk to people. I mean, there's a bunch of things that a bunch of people have said about working hard and, learning your basics and getting your fundamentals down. And all of that is true, but it's not as true as the reality that connections are important. And I don't just mean that in like an industry sense. That is true in an industry sense. Connections are everything in any industry you work in. It's not exclusive to comics. That's just true. You can have as much skill as you want, but if you don't know people who are going to be able to help you, those skills only mean so much. But I think what people don't acknowledge or talk about with that is that it's not impossible. It's not even hard to get connections. That's not an unachievable barrier. That's a very easy thing. You have to be in community with the community you want to be in. You have to. If you want to be in the comic book industry, be in community with comic artists, be in community with comic writers, be in community with comic editors, be a part of this community, be a part of like as a fan, as a supporter, as someone who has opinions, being in community with people is the most important thing that you can do in your life, and that it will translate to your career. It just will. So go to conventions and talk to people and show people your art, even when it feels weird and cringy, and talk to people about the things that are important to you and relate to them about what's important to them, and hear other people and form those connections, because that's the important part. The community is the important part. I think that especially in art industries, we like to take care of each other. Every person who was not given a position in any artistic industry by like a veteran who's been there because their grandfather, funded all of the films that this person ever made, like everybody who is in an artistic industry knows what it means to go unseen. Everybody knows that feeling, and nobody wants other people to feel that feeling. And if you find the other people who are willing to use their resources and use their time and expend their effort to make sure that other people who were in that position don't feel that way, those are the people that you need to be with. And then you need to be that person. That's the important part. Then you need to pass it on. You can't just take advantage of that and let someone pull you up and bring you into the fold. You then also need to turn around and grab somebody else's hand. You've got to maintain that community. That's the important part, is knowing how to be in community with people. Everything else is a learned skill. Everything else is learned. You can teach yourself how to draw. I did not go to college for it. I didn't. I wanted to, and then I didn't. And then I flunked out of college. I don't have a degree. I don't have anything. I taught myself from day one how to draw because I wanted to. That's everything else can be taught. You can teach yourself how to draw. You can teach yourself how to write an email. You can teach yourself how to do anything else that you need to do to be in this industry. You can't teach somebody to be in community. You can't teach somebody to be a good person. That's something that you have to just choose. That's something you have to just choose to do. That's my advice.
You are one of my best students, though.
Thank you. Thank you. you know, and I won't pretend like I didn't grind, you know. I won't pretend like I didn't put in the work and I didn't do my reps, but I did a lot of those things because I was given an opportunity that I couldn't afford to waste. And I said, great, I'm not going to waste it. This is my life now. This job is my life. This work is my life. I made that choice. But that is a choice that I was able to make because of the opportunity that you provided to me. You know, like I wouldn't have had it
before it though. That's the thing. Like Shell and I have this thing where it's like you have to prepare for the job that you want. And when you came to me, you were prepared.
You know, I was prepared. I spent a lot of my free time working. I spent a lot of my free time working on my portfolio and trying to get better, trying to improve. But I'll say that the improvement that I made in the 5 years before I joined the studio versus the improvement that I have made since then, it's like a different person. There's something that's really, really special about having to learn on the job. Like there's something that's it's a very vital experience, I think, because sometimes you don't consider the things that you're going to need to learn in order to succeed in the job. You know,
think people don't understand the professionalism side of it, like the drawing part of it is actually easy. Yeah. Right.
You got to learn how to talk to people in an email. You got to learn how to not sound like an asshole when you're upset with somebody. You gotta learn how to talk like a person, even when you want to punch a guy. Like you gotta. There's things that you absolutely have to learn outside of just drawing. You got to learn marketing. I'm still bad at it. I'm still really bad at it. I try every day, and I'm so bad.
Wednesdays, right? Like, did you do Wednesday today?
I didn't. No, not even a little bit. I was too busy. I was working on pages.
And I can't wait for people to see the thing that you're doing.
No, me too. That's also part of the problem with the Share Wednesdays is I've got to like find time to just like grind out a bunch of art so that when Wednesday comes around, I can post stuff, because the stuff that I'm always working on when Wednesday comes around is stuff that I can't show other people yet. Yeah. So like, I just don't have anything that I can like.
So much work we can't show.
Right. I have so much work that I can't show. If y'all saw what I was working on now, you'd be blown away, but you don't get to see it yet. You got to wait 6 months.
You really would. I haven't really seen the stuff you've done for Planchette.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No, it's been such a great experience, but it is. It's that, that on the job training it's important. It's important. So yeah, that's and I guess my plugs are TJ. I'm TJ Bell Art or Sewer Reptile. I'm pretty much everything.
Yes.
I don't change it up. I tried to switch everything over to TJ Bell Art, and then people who used to follow me didn't know who I was anymore, so I went back to Sewer Reptile. Which is fine. It's just it's a silly name to be stuck with, but that's okay.
Yeah, I've been asked about it. It's like, are you talking about Sewer Reptile? Is that
yes. Yeah. It's literally, it was just a silly like name that I picked for my like Batman themed Tumblr side blog that I had just to repost all my comic stuff, because I was like really into Killer Croc at the time, so I was like, this is a perfect choice.
Killer Croc. I think it's great.
I like Killer Croc. He's great. He's fine. I wouldn't say he's like my favorite character, so I don't know why that was the one that I was like, and this is how I'll be remembered forever, but it is now. But then I started, especially with doing design. Yeah, right. Well, then I started doing this, the DC special, and people. So now people associate me with that, and it's fine. Anyway, it's fine. I'm so used to it. So yeah, Sewer Reptile or TJ Bell Art. You can also check out the DC Pride zine, which is at actually I can post that here. Yeah. Yes, I can. This is the the card for the fan special. This has everything that we are setting up for this year, and it also has our stuff from last year. So you can actually see our last year's special is completely free to read on Flipzine. We didn't want to charge money for this project. We're hoping to do maybe printed copies this coming year, but we will still be doing a free version of it because it's important that everybody gets to see themselves in comics. That's, I'm a huge believer in free comics. So
TJ, where'd you post it? Where'd you post that link?
I posted it I posted it on YouTube because I can't post it in the chat on on StreamYard.
I'm looking in the YouTube chat and I don't see it there. Let me
weird.
Let me go. Let me go to the YouTube one specifically. Well, it says it's already YouTube.
Well, I'll also send it to you, so maybe you can post it and then people will be able to see it.
Okay, yeah, because I'm gonna put it in the chat. Hold on a second.
Yeah. Perfect. But yeah, so we're actually still accepting applications for this year or for 2026. So if it's something that interests you and you want to be a part of it, we are still accepting applications for artists. We're still accepting scripts. We've got some really, really cool submissions so far, but we could still definitely use some more. And it's going to be great. I'm really excited about it this year. So follow along, see what happens. It's going to be very cool. Our theme this year is Behind the Mask, which is this is our first year that we're doing a theme, but we are specifically focusing on stories that explore the relationship between secret identity and queer identity and the way that those things can be connected, largely inspired by the I Am Batman story that was written by Kevin Conroy in the second special that came out with DC. It's a really important theme for a lot of people. It's community voted, so people really wanted to see this one specifically, and we're here to deliver. So yeah.
All right, I think that's going to close it out for
Fantastic.
episode 2. So now that you've gotten your first one under your belt, are you going to be back? Are you?
Of course, I'll be back.
Of course, you'll be back.
Of course, I'll be back.
Come back. I'm like, everybody comes. This is a what is it? A studio wide mandate.
Yeah, that's fine. I really don't mind it. I never shut up, and so it's really easy for me to talk for a long time about a lot of stuff.
I mean, we could sit here and like talk for another 2 more hours. We
could probably gab for another 2 hours and be fine.
Just easy. So, but we gotta give it piece by piece. Like I'm actually glad I'm like 2 episodes in. Do you remember when I first talked about a podcast? Do you remember that?
Yes. We first started talking about this at the very beginning of the iteration of this new studio, very, very, very early on. We started talking about doing stuff like this, or doing dual or multi-hosts where we did streaming of drawing and chatting and stuff like that. We've talked about doing a couple different things.
Twitch, I think we're talking about that too. Yeah.
Definitely.
But I think you have access to everything, our logos and all that stuff. So if you wanted to jump on Twitch and use the logo and do all that stuff,
Noted. I will keep that in mind.
But you're busy. I mean, I'm thinking about
so busy, and I can't post any of the stuff that I'm working on.
It's just crazy. The stuff that we're doing for Archie. I'd love to post what I just showed you guys.
God, I know, right? Yes.
But can't do that. I'm still working on that. Yeah, I can't do that. That's going to be great though. But yeah, we got a bunch of projects coming out, but we're producing, and the cool thing is that you are doing. So if people saw, okay, hold on, let me show what you did, which is funny, and then we're gonna go. So there's a project.
What did I do?
Yeah, wait. We're gonna show the hold on.
It's just never. Awesome. it's always, very nerve-wracking when somebody's like, I'm gonna show everybody what you did. It was so funny. Oh God, what did I do?
Yeah. Oh God, this is the worst drawing that TJ's done for the studio. I'm gonna show you guys.
Oh no.
No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. Let me see if it pops up. And it's something that we're working on. Yeah, it's one of the mini projects, but this is a project that's just like kind of taking its time. Hold on a second. It's here somewhere. No, that's not. I got everybody like waiting around.
I know.
That's all right. They're here to see it. They're here for it.
I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, they don't know what it is. I mean, technically, if they were here earlier, they would have seen it already.
Oh, okay.
They would have seen it already because I posted it. And I cannot what the hell? Okay, you know what? Forget it. I'm gonna just do this. What I'm gonna do is okay. I'm just gonna go to the actual ad for the thing because I can't find the actual page. Okay, hold on. Okay, let's see if it goes. Okay. I almost don't want to show this, but see the piece of this that your design.
Sure. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So, for Rise to Ruin.
Yes. So this is something that we were working on, and the whole team did the concepts of most of these characters. TJ did concepts for. So I wanted to show the actual design sheet, not my advertisement for TJ, but this is something really, really cool that TJ and Danny Lore were working on. So,
yes, which is so cool to work with Danny Lore. I mean, talk about an icon, absolutely incredible. They're so great to work with.
So, but yeah, next time we'll show more.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. All right, that's it. Yeah, look here. Yes. Because I'm like, I can't freaking find it. Okay,
that's okay. He'll absolutely kill me for telling everybody this live on screen. But when I sent my dad the link for this, he was like, I don't understand. I can't get it to play, and I was like, it's not playing yet. It's okay. It'll be playable at 9:00. And he was like, oh, I thought I was stupid. Okay, I'm so glad.
Oh my God.
Sometimes it just takes a little time. It's all good.
Just wait. It'll be fine.
Just don't go anywhere.
Yeah, just don't go anywhere. Just come in. It'll be fine. Okay, so it's actually looking for it now, so everybody can see the actual real thing. And then I'll leave on that note. All right. Let's see. I'm actually pulling it from my what is it called? From the Clip Studio. Because I actually have it on there.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay. Yeah, so the name of the file is actually called ATR concept.
Right. Yeah.
So let's see. Right. And it's always these like lulls in the program. You know, just so we can do a thing. Like sometimes, like I said, I've been on these podcasts from time to time where it took us 20 minutes just to like get everything set up, and then the actual podcast started. So that's always interesting when that happens. I mean, I'm here for it, and you know, it's all good. Okay, did that work? That definitely worked. All right. Okay, now you can see a little bit more. There we go.
Hey, yeah, there it is.
There it is.
Yes, yep, yeah. So this was. Yeah. This was really fun. This is a combination of characters that were already designed, and then adding in more characters that were pretty much just pitches. This is more of a pitch than it is like it is anything else. Was just taking the characters that had already been designed by myself and the other members of the studio, which would be Wilma, Hewer, and Mimi. I think were the only ones that had been specifically. And then
that
kind
appear
of
in here because Marquise did.
Yes.
God, what's his name?
The captain, the one of the I can't remember his name either, but he's the blonde guy.
Yeah.
It's really good. I really liked him. I just don't remember his name, and I think he's an antagonist. So he didn't appear in the group photo here. But yeah, it was just like, you know, here's the characters that we already have. So I'm going to throw around a bunch of different concepts to kind of go with these characters and see if I can't make a hodgepodge team that kind of looks, you know, like they could be from the same universe, but maybe it kind of looks a little bit like they're from different places, just so that, you know, Ray and Danny could look at it and be like, okay, you know, this is what we like. We want, you know, X many characters. So we're going to take this one and this one, or we're going to take, you know, this one and combine it with this one, which is what we did for a couple of them. And just trying out a bunch of different things, playing on a couple of different like character tropes that I like, trying to subvert a couple different character tropes that I like. I'm a huge fan. I'm always gonna love a big scary monster who's actually like a total sweetheart. So that's why I drew Paul. And I wanted to include some references to the original Buck Rogers stuff as well. So I was like, okay, well, what if we took like the character Hawk and then, you know, redesigned Hawk to be, instead of this like, you know, cool, level-headed, like, you know, super rad pilot guy, what if instead we made Hawk like a weird genderqueer little guy who's just there doing stuff. Same with Tweaky, taking Tweaky, who is like, you know, Hewer's like a bot that he hangs out with, and you know, changing this into a different kind, something that I suited this version of Hewer more, who's a bit more like chaotic and mad scientist-y, and so then giving him this like, you know, really structured medical bot that doesn't do what it's supposed to anymore. Trying out some different, like, you know, animal characters, like a robo dog, and this like, you know, a bear with a cannon arm, because who doesn't love a bear with a cannon arm? And the Sly Cooper over here, the Sly Cooper Fox inspired character. And of course, my personal favorite, Rose, who I just just loved. I'm always gonna love a fat character. You know, I'm a fat guy now. I was a fat kid growing up, and that's a desperately, like truly a desperately underrepresented like group of people in comics. You just don't see it very often. And when you do, it's not usually particularly flattering or fun. It always, you know, we're always kind of the butt of the joke. And it sucks. But every time that I remember like seeing a character in a movie or in a comic or something who looked like me in some way and wasn't, you know, treated like the butt of a joke, that was always huge for me. And And so I was like, this kind of character, this like, hot, bitchy weapon specialist, girl with the colored hair and the tattoos. This is a character who would 100% be the main love interest, or the slightly queer coded secondary love interest for somebody else in a movie, but only because she would be thin. So what if we didn't do that? What if she was fat and also she's still cool as hell and still hot and still has tattoos and colored hair? Yeah, she could be all those things. She's still gonna wear the skimpy clothes and the fishnets and the chaps and have her arms out and have cool tattoos and piercings and colored hair, because you can be fat and still have all that stuff and it's still hot. So whatever.
I absolutely love that, and it's so funny because this is also one of those things. I often, when I pick people to join the team and all the stuff that I do, there's definitely pieces of everybody's personality that are very much like mine. So, you and I have a lot of crossover. Definitely a lot of crossover, a lot of the way we think. So the way that you had described Ro, first of all, like I said, when I saw you post it, I was like, I love Ro. It's like, it's my favorite, because we were essentially doing Sophie's Choice. Remember, like we had to figure out who we're going to keep and who we weren't, and all of these different things. And I was like, well, Rose ain't going nowhere. Okay,
we're keeping her.
We're keeping her. That's it. That's just it.
It was literally the only one that I sent that I was like, this is the one that I would fight for. Like if she doesn't make the first,
you didn't have to fight at all.
I didn't have to, and I didn't suspect that I had to, but she was the one where I was like, this is the one I'm gonna fight for, because I had so much fun drawing her. She was so she had such a personality to me. The moment that she was on the page, I was like, yeah, she's got to stick around. She's great. Oh, yeah. I love her.
Absolutely. So yeah, that was like, this is happening. You know what I mean? So now here's where we cross everything you described. Now, I have one too, because Dex and Midnight Tiger Ego's got the pretty hair. He's really cute, and he's like a football star, but he's queer.
Yes.
Right.
No, I love him.
Everybody loves Dex.
When I first got to read through the first three, the original 3 issues, I fell in love with Dex. I was like, oh my god, he's perfect.
yeah, absolutely. Like, so Erica Schultz, Wolverine Temperature, she loves Dex. She's like, I love Dex. So, but having this big, strong, guy, and he's also a Pacific Islander, what we don't see a lot also. All these different things that are there that go against type. So, and so, like I said, I mean, it wasn't any way that I wasn't gonna love Rose. Like, it was no way. No,
definitely that going against type is so important to me. And also just like, it's so hard, because there is a really, especially I think when it comes to to women and the representation that they receive or don't receive in different kinds of media, but also different kinds of women who really don't appear in specific kinds of media. It's hard, because there's always this balance you want to strike of having romantic relationships, being considered desirable, being considered, pretty. Those things aren't important and shouldn't define your value. But it also kind of sucks that they never get that either. It really, really sucks to then also never be treated as being a desirable person just because you're a big girl, or because you wear your hair a different way, or because you're queer in a flavor that people don't understand or care to explore in a meaningful way.
Exactly.
And so it's it's really important to strike that balance. I believe really, really wholeheartedly that it's why ensemble casts are always the most fun, because I think it's the best way to explore a lot of those different storylines and a lot of the different ways that representation can be important without necessarily pinning all of your opinions on a specific thing. You know, I'm not saying that this kind of person should never be in a relationship. I'm saying that this character isn't in a relationship, but this other character who represents a similar group of people should be, and they are. You know, I think that's always the fun part about doing about having a really like wide cast and just a bunch of different characters. It's one of the things I'm really excited about with A Rise to Ruin is there's so many people to play around with. There's so many stories to explore there, and that's really exciting.
Well, I mean, you have an opportunity to do that, and there's no well, there's definitely no gatekeeping here. There's also
yeah.
It's like you do what you want. If it works, it works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But, yeah. So
and it's gonna it's gonna be for somebody. So
well, yeah, I think it's too many people. I always use the term like there's like 8 billion people on the planet. Somebody's gonna like this.
Somebody's gonna like this. Yeah.
Somebody's gonna like this. So
exactly.
All right, we're closing now. All right.
For real. For real this time. 40 minutes after.
Can we tell you like we can go on and on? All right. So I don't know when the next show is gonna be. I don't know what episode 3 is gonna be. But we're probably going to, I think the next one is definitely going to be next. So I think next viewing will be on the next one. Yeah, right. So we'll see when and how that works out. After that, we'll keep it going. But this is episode 2, and I'm introducing you to TJ Bell.
That's me.
All right. Good night, folks.
All right. Bye.